All right, guys, so we are here this evening. I am going to discuss some endorsements, not all for all the districts, but some endorsements for Fairmont City Council. I'm also going to discuss some topics about Fairmont City Council and our city in general that I think are pertinent to what's going on, and that, you know, you don't have to listen to everything that I say. You don't have to take it and run with it, but you know, this is a discussion and to have it, and this is where I share my thoughts and my opinions, and I hope that you'll be open-minded enough to at least just listen and soak it in a little bit, and then take away what it is that you need to take away. So I have released a little bit of a broadcast, a report for you all to watch. If you haven't watched it already, you can watch it here on this page, and it connects to my YouTube channel, which is Lumen Read Media, and you can watch that. And what that talks about is the current mayor, Mayor Tom Mainella, and the current city council. And as we remember, last year there was an incident of Mayor Mainella screaming at a little girl and her father, telling the little girl that her father was stupid, and the little girl is heard in the vehicle crying to her dad, saying that she's scared, that she just wanted to go home, as he's berating this father at a daycare drop-off because he didn't like the way that the father had parked, even though his massive truck could still drive through, which we saw in the video. He went on to ask the man, "Do you know who I am?" and then told him if he wanted to call the cops to go right ahead, and who were the cops going to believe, because he was the mayor. And so he insinuated that our Fairmont PD, who are amazing men and women, were going to be essentially corrupt and just automatically believe what the mayor had said and take his word over that of a citizen because of who he was. When this incident had come out, Fairmont City Council had to make a very hard decision of what they were going to do with the mayor. In the past, when city council members had gone to social media and had shared their thoughts or their opinions on social media pages, public, in their personal social media pages, on sit-in politicians, female ones, city council was very quick to condemn these men, to call them what they were, and to vociferate them in the media and publicly, and they quickly censored them. Now, city council cannot remove council members from council themselves. Only us, the people, can do that, and it's a very long process in order to do that. So they could only censor them, but they had some strong words for these council members of what they had done. When it came to Tom Mainella and what he done, there were no words. Now, you have to understand that the man and the woman, they also came to city council before that video was ever released, and they had sent the video to only the council members at that point, and they had come to council to address the mayor, and they wanted only an apology. They wanted to see that their elected official was sorry for what they had done, and that he was going to offer an apology. He doubled down on what he had done. He apologized to the woman only, and then doubled down on the man, and showed us in live feed in a public meeting how disgusting of a human being he really was. Not only that, but the hypocrisy from the city council itself and the quietness. They didn't come out. They didn't help those citizens. Often, we said that a lot when we have citizens petitions. A citizen can come to city council often and talk about a sidewalk that is hurting their home, that the city won't allow them to change their address from one side to the other side, and yet the city is still going to put a sidewalk there when, you know, their children are playing in the yard and trash and vagrants and drugs are getting thrown over. And the city council won't listen to them. Or if you come in there and you have a problem with the person that works at the city that has been rude to you or mean, and you speak out, then the city will tell you, the mayor, that you are no longer allowed to do this, and they're changing the rules and you are no longer allowed to speak. The citizens do not have a voice at city council, unless you, of course, are certain individuals like Nick Fantasia, who that 5 minutes of citizens petition no longer pertains to. He gets to stand up there and talk for 15 minutes if he wants. But if you are a citizen of Fairmont and you want to go up and speak on a matter that's important to you, and that mayor does not like it, then you better sit down and shut up, because you don't know what you're talking about. And how dare you go to city council and tell them. And the other city council members, each and every one of them sits there and they are quiet. They never stick up, they never stand up, and they never say anything. They never say, wait a second, hold on here. We are all equal members of this council, and that's not the way things are done. I want to hear the citizens petition, and I want to hear what they have to say. You will stop being a bully. You don't get to talk to a woman in our city like this. You don't get to scream at babies and do this. No, our city didn't do that. In fact, they allowed him to continue to be the face of the friendly city of Fairmont. They went into an executive session and they had to make a decision. Now, of course, they couldn't remove him from council itself, but they could remove him as mayor because the city council votes on him being mayor, and they had the decision to do that. And my sources tell me what they did is they asked if they could actually buy off the family, send him on a trip or something. And the city attorney told them, no, you can't do that. That is actually kind of like corruption. That's just not going to look good. The optics would be very bad for that. Two city council members, and I won't say who those two city council members are. I think that they might surprise some of you they might not, voted to have him removed as mayor. And the other city council, each and every one of them, did not. Now, that doesn't surprise me at all because they are their friends, right? They toe the line. You stick together, that good old boys club, and they refused to remove him. Now, how Fairmont City Council works is that when you have an issue like that, things that are happening in executive session, as long as there's the majority, you all come out and you speak unanimously. This is a decision that is made to keep unity within the city. So they all came out and they unanimously decided that he would remain the face of the friendly city. Now, why this decision was made, I don't know. They would not have done that for other members of the city council that were of other political affiliations or were not part of the good old boys club that they didn't like, who had done what my opinion was far worse. They had spoken online and they had done things on their personal Facebook pages, which I disagree with and I found to be disgusting and despicable things that they had said, but they had done it to adults. They had done it to elected officials, public figures who had put themselves in that position. That is what they had done. And so they may not have represented Fairmont as a whole, but they still had put themselves in the spotlight, right? A private citizen, a citizen who comes to you at city council or a child to be abused by your elected official, that is not okay. And you have just now crossed the line completely. And he should be held to even a higher standard. And if not a higher standard, at least to the same standard. But no, our city council members sat quietly. And not a single one of them spoke out against him. Not a single one of them. Especially not Donna Blood, who works for CASA, an advocate for children who watched this man scream at a child who sat there and cried and traumatized her. Who sat there and listened to this video, an advocate for children, to come out and speak. Really? Giudice, who works in our Marion County school systems for special education students, you have nothing to say against this man? Really? And then last week at city council, he does it again. There were children present for Cub Scouts. And he sat there at a public meeting, again, disgracing us as a city, showing us exactly who we are to the rest of the state, and more so because I have been to Pittsburgh where when I say where I'm from, they say, oh, we know about you and your mayor. Oh, I know you do. Everybody knows who we are. We are not the friendly city. We are the city that Tom Mainella has shamed us. And we are the city who sat there and backed him and let him stay in his seat. And who did that? Every single one of those council members. Our deputy mayor, Donna Blood, who made a blood deal, I guess, the day that they were elected, those new city council members. And I was there in the election office. I was in the election office when Tom Mainella took all those newly elected members of city council aside and whispered in their ear. I was there when I was told about the deal between Donna Blood and Tom Mainella, that as long as she voted to keep him as the mayor, to become the mayor, that she would be deputy mayor. And that's exactly what happened. And I tried to warn you guys. I tried to let you know who he was and what he had done. And I have text messages and screenshots and so much more, emails that could go on for a history of before he became the mayor, or at least the interim of that time. But I think just his public displays was enough, because I could have said it over and over again and you wouldn't have believed me. You wouldn't have believed anything. That video comes out and then it shows you all who he is. And then just 2 weeks ago when he was sitting at city council swearing in front of children, losing his cool, So much so that when a vote comes out, he wouldn't even sit there. He went out into the hallway and then continued to yell from the hallway. Continued to yell from the hallway at the city council members. That is our mayor. That is the grown man who abuses women. I have seen him abuse city council women after a meeting, screaming at them, yelling at them, disgusting things. And I was sitting present in those city council meetings while he did that. Did any of those city council members do anything? Did Donna Blood do anything? No. No, why? Why would she? Because she's not who you think she is. She can put up the public face and pretend. But you know, it's one of those things when you know your brother or your uncle, your dad, that he beats his wife or that he's an abuser of women. It's one thing to stand up and advocate for a woman. It's another thing to call one of your own out on it. And that is the problem with Fairmont City Council. That's the problem with Fairmont. We can stand up on our high horses and we can stand up on our pedestals and we can scream from the top that we're inclusive, that we stand up for women, that we stand up for children, that we stand up for what's right. But don't you call out one of our own. Don't you dare do that. No, 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 no. Those secrets we keep to ourselves and we just keep towing the line. We want the same old, right? That's how it works. And then if you dare go against city council or if you dare go against Fairmont, then you are the problem because we have so many wonderful things. You'll hear that a lot. You'll hear that so much here in Fairmont right now. You'll hear it during election season. A lot of candidates are toting that. And a lot of people, when you come out at the city and you talk about that, you know, I hear a lot from the city planner about how great Fairmont is for business, and the city manager talks about businesses and businesses and businesses over and over again. And we have discussed how the city planner has caused it to be so difficult for businesses to open here. And he talks about how $1.5 million for a rail trail that only he will bike will open up the world of businesses to Fairmont. Nobody's coming here. That doesn't bring any revenue to here to Fairmont, right? It costs us money to maintain it and to build it but that's not bringing businesses in. In fact, what you are doing is you are causing businesses to leave. You have made it difficult, and we've discussed this on here. We've discussed how businesses have tried to open up here in Fairmont and they couldn't because it's made so difficult for them that they've left. There's no incentive, right? And don't take my word for it. Take the people that work at the city planning office who have just recently opened new businesses, and guess what? They didn't open their businesses in Fairmont. Guess where they went? They went to Whitehall. They went to Whitehall. That's what they did. You know why? When called out for why employees of the city planning office who tout businesses and how great Fairmont is were asked why they went to Whitehall to open their business. And you know what they said? They said, well, Whitehall offers a deal we couldn't refuse. Well, of course they did, because everybody opens his businesses in Whitehall. That's why Whitehall is thriving and why Fairmont is not. So the problem, again, the problem maybe not be Fairmont itself. It might not be our city council. It might not be our city manager or city planner. The problem, in fact, is us. It's us. That's the problem, because we know this and we see it and we understand it, but we refuse to do anything about it. We sit back and we're complicit and we don't do anything, do we? We let it continue and we sit back complicit and we sit there and say to ourselves, well, that's just the way it's always been. How many times do we hear that? And if you dare speak out and say, listen, we have flooding. We have flooding here. Or we have this problem here and this problem here. Then they'll come out and say, wait a second. All you do is you just start trouble. That's all you do. You're just starting trouble. Why can't you ever just see the beauty in anything? Why can't you see how great Fairmont? Why can't you talk about the positive? Everybody wants to be negative about anything. Listen. Fairmont is beautiful. The people that live here are beautiful. Marion County is gorgeous. Some of the most fantastic people I have ever known in all of my life. Absolutely. But guess what? If we are living on a pile of shit and a rose grew from it, and we sat here and said, you know what? Let's forget the shit that we're in and let's just enjoy this rose. We don't need to clean up the shit. We don't need to talk about how the shit got here. And we don't need to talk about who caused the shit to be here. Be grateful that you got a rose. And just shut up about the shit everywhere. That's what they want you to do. They want you to embrace the one rose that just grew from the pile of shit. And they don't want you to remember that you're living in a pile of shit. They don't want you to think about the smell or talk about the smell, and they don't want you to talk about any of it, because if you do, then you're going to start pointing fingers, and then you're going to start realizing that they were the ones who dropped you the ball. They're the ones who brought you the pile of shit, and they're the ones who have the resources to clean it up, and they refuse to do anything about it because they're over there fucking having a party, drinking it up, having fun, and enjoying themselves over in their nice little clean homes while we are all living in a pile of shit. But don't say that. They gave you a rose. Just smell the rose. Look at the rose and ignore everything else around you. So what are you guys going to do? You're going to sit back and you're going to sit there. But I like Donna Blood. She seems so nice. If you have ever been in a toxic relationship, if you have ever been with anyone, what do they tell you? Actions speak louder than words. Right? I can come out here all day and say everything. My actions speak louder than words. Do I put my money where my mouth is? You bet your money I do. I absolutely do. If I sat here and spouted this stuff and then went out into my real life and then didn't live it, then I'd be a hypocrite. And I refuse to do that. I refuse to. If I went in here and did this and then I went out and said, listen, I'm registering Republican, I'm registering Democrat, and that's where I stand and that's it. No, I don't do that. I refuse to do that. It goes against who I am, and I refuse to tout one side or the other. I'll come for you no matter what side of the aisle you are on. Last week I came against Phil Mallow. This week I'm coming against Donna Blood. And guess what? Two totally different spectrums of what the political side is. So if I went out there and I totally was against it, then I'd be a hypocrite. Actions speak louder than words. And when you look at people in city council and they're saying one thing and they're doing another, that makes you have to stop and wonder. And don't sit there and say, well, they seem. I don't care about what they seem. What are they doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're being complicit when bad things happen. They're not changing anything because Fairmont's exactly where it's always been. So what are you going to do? Because now it's your point. Are you going to get out of this toxic relationship? Are you going to make changes? Are you going to do something about it? Because right now, you have the ability. Early voting started today. Are you going to go and vote? Are you going to sit there and say, enough's enough? I'm done with the city council. We need something different. We need something new. We need somebody not to be complicit. That's what you need. Somebody who's going to buck us. Somebody who's going to stand up and say, this is not okay. Who touted the line and who didn't? That's what you need to ask yourself. Because I'm sick and tired of it being this way. And I hope that you are too. So I have a couple of endorsements for city council of where I am. I'll tell you who they are here. There are a couple of members of city council that I'm okay with. There's actually one, and I'm only going to say his name. I wasn't going to endorse him publicly, and I don't really feel, because I still think that he is simply still part of that complicity in that fact. But in recent months, I feel that he has stuck out as different. He's voted against things that the city council refused to vote against, which is the water bill. He has spoken out otherwise. I feel that he is at least more in tune with what's going on, even if it's for PR, even if it's for his image, even if it's for everything. At least he's making an effort to sit there and say, listen, this looks bad for us. I'm not going to toe the line. And that, to me, at least says something. And let me tell you this, he's better than his opponent. So listen, Josh Rice is my guy for District 1. And that's why I'm choosing Josh Rice for District 1. So, Josh Rice has always been very kind to me, and he's always been honest. I've never felt that Josh has ever lied. And, Josh knows how to play the game. And he will vote against things when he feels that it's bad or that the city truly is against something. So if you really feel badly or you feel angry about something, you contact Josh and you let him know, because he really does embrace and take in what it is that you're saying. Even if it's because he doesn't want to look bad or anything, that's good enough for me, because a politician who doesn't want to look bad is a good politician to me, because at least he's thinking in his head. Because obviously Tom Mainella doesn't care if he looks bad, and Donna Blood doesn't care if she looks bad, right? Giudice doesn't care. They don't care. They don't care if they look bad to you, because they're in the club, they're in there, and they're running on their name, and they think that they're going to just win. They don't need to campaign. Have they really campaigned? Right? Have they campaigned at all? there are some people in District 2, and I'm not going to even name them, but I'm going to tell you this. They have been very public on what they've been saying. I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to give them any time on my page. They've actually been banned from this page for just being disgusting people, and I still think that they're disgusting. They'll sit here and they'll tote a lot of stuff to you, and they're full of it. They are full of it. They do not go to city council meetings. And when they've asked, why don't you go to any city council meeting? If you're running for city council, don't you think you should go to city council meeting and actually learn about city council? Don't you think that's kind of important? No. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do what I've always done. Well, I'm sorry, but if you're going for a job interview, and you're going to get hired for a job, I wouldn't go into that job interview and your boss says to you, I'm sorry, have you prepared for this job at all? No, I don't have any credentials for the job whatsoever. And you know what? I'm just going to do what I've always done. And so, you know what? I've always gotten up at 10 o'clock and I take my lunch at noon and then I go home at this time. So I'm just going to do what I've always done because I don't feel like I need to do anything more because I know everything and I'm better than you and you know nothing. That's how I see some people that are running in District 2. You are not better than the people of the city. You're not better than everybody. And if you truly cared about the people and you cared about city council, and we already know that you're friends with half of them, the Tom Manellas and the Donna Bloods and all of them, and you toe the line too, if you truly cared about those people, then you would go to city council and you'd read those agendas and you'd listen to what's going on and you would put your nose into it and you would start learning what the problems are. Really understand the people of Fairmont and really try to understand what is going on. You're not doing that. And that bothers me. Campaigning is not about PR. It's not about who makes the most posts on social media and who has the best photos. If you're going to campaign, it's like a job interview. Tell me why you need it. What do you know about our company and what can we improve and what can we disprove? Tell me about the people and not just the people that you walk into circles with, because those are not all the people of Fairmont. No, that's a small majority that you know. And if that's all you know, if all you know are property owners that own multiple retail, guess what? Every single person in Fairmont does not own retail properties or rental properties. That's not the majority of people in Fairmont. And if that's the only niche that you know and that you're already telling us that those are the people that you are marketing to, then I don't want you in office. I don't want you in office because I want to know what you're going to do for the regular people. The people that live in an apartment in Fairmont, what are you going to do for them? Or the regular homeowners in Fairmont that have people dumping trash into their yard or have flooding coming down their steps. What are you going to do for them? I don't care about just the people that own rental properties and making money and abandoned homes and stuff like that, because guess what? We're all not so privileged as you are to live that way. So what are you going to do for the everyday average person that gets up every day and goes to work just to try to make ends meet? Nothing, right? Nothing. You don't care that our water bill went up. You don't care about how well our water is or how not. You don't care about our property values or the fact that we now need to pay more money to get a permit to put a screen door on to make sure that our toddler doesn't run out. You don't care that people are fighting the city just to put an ADA ramp on the side of their house or a bathroom because they're disabled and they need a bathroom and the city planner is fighting them on everything. You don't care and you don't want to put your nose in it and you don't want to be controversial or call anybody out. And that tells me everything I need to know about you, sweetheart. That tells me everything. And I don't want somebody who's complicit and can't stand up for what's right. You can be controversial. I'd rather vote for someone who's controversial than somebody who's complicit, because that tells me they have a backbone and they're not scared to say what everybody else is thinking. In District 5, my vote is going for David Ice, and that is who I am endorsing. David Ice actually runs one of our community pages, one of my favorite, and that is Marion County and Fairmont Public Arrest. He has changed the name, so that's what it is right now. I really like David Ice. I think he is a good man, and he's intelligent. David Ice runs this page. He knows Fairmont. He knows the problems, and guess what? He's exactly what I just told you that we needed people to be represented by. He is the everyday man. He is one of us every single day working paycheck to paycheck to survive for him and his family. David Ice not only is that, but he knows this community. He runs this page, he reads these posts, he's in it every single day, and he has been active in this community for many, many years. David Ice knows it very well, and he has my vote. And there's not a better representation of our city than the actual people of our city that live and breathe it, that pay our taxes and that live here, not those above us, right? That's who I want to see represent us. That's who I want to see. In District 7, my endorsement is going to Jack Oliver. And, it's kind of funny because Jack Oliver ran against me in school board. I like Jack Oliver very much. I've spoken about Jack Oliver previously and his commitment to Fairmont. Jack Oliver is an amazing man. And, I think he gets a bad rap for trying to run for things and not winning. And in fact, I find that to be more admirable than anything. I think that it's admirable to show how desperate he is to want to serve this community. Jack Oliver knows this community. He has lived here his entire life. He knows this community. Jack Oliver is a veteran who has fought for the GI Bill. Jack Oliver has lived here and raised a family here. He owns a business here, a very successful business. He owns property here, a home, and a building in which his business is run out of. He pays his taxes here. And yes, he has run for multiple offices to serve this community because that is what he is guided to do. He's been a member of Habitat Humanity and multiple other boards. He is a good and smart man. He is also a CPA. And if anybody can get our books in order or to know where we're spending and we shouldn't be spending, it is a CPA. He knows his numbers and he can go over them with a fine-tooth comb, which is exactly what our city doesn't. It's easier for them to not have anybody question those numbers. That's what they don't want. They don't want you to question those numbers, right? Because when you question those numbers, they get angry, right? Didn't we just have this when we asked where all that money went for flower baskets? And then when we found out and it was astronomically high, what did they do? No longer were they going to give us numbers. You had to FOIA them. You had to FOIA them because they don't want you to know the numbers. Because once you know the numbers and you put them together and you actually do some basic math, you realize that the city is screwing you over, right? So we need somebody in city council who actually is going to represent us and knows the numbers, who's going to get the agenda and say, wait a second here, this isn't making any sense. This isn't adding up and this isn't okay with me. Jack Oliver gets my endorsement. And also his opponent also is a problem for me. Listen, his opponent is my neighbor. He lives across the street from me. And listen, he has a beautiful home. He mows his lawn. He has the most beautiful little boy I have ever seen in the entire world, next to my own, of course. And he's a good person, but I don't want him on city council. I don't want him on city council. If you want to talk about nepotism, there we go. We are trying to break the trend of nepotism, aren't we? Isn't that what we're trying to do? And when your brother is sitting on county commission and already has his fingers in every single pot in this entire county, from the airport authority, read my 31-page article on corruption in higher education. Chris Sinelli wasn't named in the article, but he's part of that airport authority in which many individuals are on the same board. He's in the airport authority. He's on the presidential search committee at Fairmont State. He is part of city council, even though he's not part of city council, because they work together. I don't want another member of Chris Sinelli's family in our personal government. That is too close to comfort for me. In addition, he doesn't know what's going on in city council. He was appointed. And let me tell you this, not only was he appointed, but he was appointed by a good old boys club. This is how I know. So when we had the appointments that were coming up, applications were due on a Friday, okay? On that Monday is when the interviews for those appointments were going to be done. I got a phone call on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week that said, hey, did you hear that Nikki Sinelli was going to be appointed to city council? And I said to my source, what do you mean? That's impossible. The applications haven't even been put in yet. And they're not going to be done until Friday. So we don't know who's going to be appointed and who's not. They still have to go for an interview. No. You're not hearing what I'm saying, my source tells me. Nikki Sinelli will be appointed to city council. They have already made their decision. Nobody really has to interview, but I'm letting you know, here's your heads up. Nikki Sinelli is going to be appointed to city council next week. Just a heads up, keep your ears and eyes open. Well, I shortly did, because on Friday, guess whose application went in on that Friday? Nikki Sinelli. Guess what happened that following Monday? Nikki Sinelli was appointed to city council. My source was 100% accurate on that one. And that tells me all I need to know about this city and how it is run. They wanted him in that office to toe that line, and that's exactly what he's done. He doesn't know what's going on in the city council. He doesn't ask any questions. He just is there to vote with everyone else on exactly what they tell him to vote on. When he got in, what did he want? He just touted that he wanted speed bumps for Peacock Lane. Peacock Lane does not need speed bumps. But for some reason, he wanted speed bumps for Peacock Lane, which causes money for the city. Then we have to remove them in the winter for plowing. Why are we wasting money on our street? Let me tell you this. Our street is a little elitist. I'm not going to lie. I live on an elitist little street here. Everybody on this street is not hurting for money. They are not. And now we need speed bumps? Hello, I am not in the business from taking money from our city to put speed bumps so our street can be more elitist than it already is. Give me a freaking break. Give me a break. Why do we need speed bumps? We don't have speed. Oh, yes, we do. We got speeding. He made police officers, and I have pictures, police officers sit down in our street for 3 days, wasting our resources of our city and our time of our police officers. For 3 days, police officers sat on our street to catch speeders. Do you think they caught any speeders? No. I called them every single day, me and the Fairmont PD, and I tell you, Fairmont PD, they're amazing people. They are awesome and wonderful human beings. Talk to them each and every day, and some of them even call me back afterwards just to update me when I didn't call them. To let me know that, you know what, Nicole? There was only one person we caught. Really? I guarantee you I know who it is. It's the same person that this entire street knows is a little bit lead foot. Is it the same person? Oh yeah, it's the same person. Guess how fast she was going? 1 mile over the speed limit. 1 mile. Guess what happens on Peacock Lane? Everybody drives so slow that when anybody on Peacock Lane actually drives the speed limit, they consider them speeding. But no, we need to spend money on speed bumps. Since then, he hasn't talked about anything. He hasn't done anything because that got kaput. And he doesn't do anything. He's complicit. He was put in there to toe the line with Tom Mainella and everybody else and to help with his brothers. So listen, I don't know about you, but I'm not in the business of wanting more of that. I want different. I don't want more, dynasties in Fairmont. I don't want the same old same. I want to change. So let's get Jack Oliver where he belongs. Let's get a CPA in there to check those books. And let's not vote on a name. Let's vote on actual experience of what they can do. District 8. I think you guys know where I'm going to go with District 8, right? District 8. Shauna Santee. Where else are we going to go with this one? If you guys watch her live streams, you know there's no other vote than Shauna Santee for District 8. Shauna Santee is on the ball with it all. Look I just made that one. I just came up with that. That was not even intentional. Shauna Santee knows her stuff. And Shauna Santee is devoted. Shauna Santee is a business owner, a homeowner. She's a mother. She's a lifelong resident. And Shauna Santee spends her time doing exactly what I just said. She goes to the city council meetings because, hey, guess what? This is a job interview. She knows that she better know exactly what's going on. She spends her time going over all of the documents in the agenda. And when she doesn't understand, she makes sure she looks it up. She spends her time and her money foyering the information that city refuses to give her that you would think was public information. But no, she has spent so much money foyering documents that they don't want you to know about. Shauna Santee has done that for you to make sure that you have information that you otherwise wouldn't. Shauna Santee loves Fairmont. If she didn't love Fairmont, she wouldn't live here. She wouldn't own a business here. She loves Fairmont so much that she wants better than what we have for Fairmont. She knows that Fairmont deserves better than the city council that we have. She wants better for you. She wants better for the students that dance at her studio because she sees them and she loves them and she knows their parents and she knows what they go through each and every day. She hears their stories. And she wants better for them and for their lives, for their parents, for their grandparents. That's what Shauna Santee wants. She wants better for her business owner friends who are in the same position as she is. I make it difficult to own and run a business here in Fairmont. That's who Shauna Santee is. Shauna Santee is for Fairmont. That's it. And she's not about toeing political lines either. Because I'll tell you this, when we look at where her competitors are, her opponents, they're on one side or the other, and neither of them are anywhere that we want to be. Neither of them. They've already declared who they are, what they're representing, and exactly the line that they're going to toe. It's not Fairmont's line either. It's not about Fairmont. They haven't come out and said anything about what they're going to do for our city or how they're going to make things better. They're just telling us where they're aligning themselves in order to get an office and saying, because I'm you, you're going to vote for me. Not because I'm doing anything for Fairmont, not because I see a vision or because I want a better Fairmont, only because I am. I know one of her opponents had said at a recent dinner I attended that the only reason she wanted to be elected to office is because she wanted to be able to say she did something before she died. What? Not because you love the city, not because you want to make the city better, not because you see a problem or you want to do something or you want to better or you want to serve the people. No, because you want to be able to say something, you did something before you died. Go see the Northern Lights. Go for a hike in the Appalachia. Go do something. Don't run for office and then destroy all of our lives. Because service and leadership is a privilege. It's not something you do on a Sunday afternoon when you have nothing better to do. District 9, I'm not touching that with the 10-foot pole. I'm not even touching District 9 with the 10-foot pole. You know how I feel about District 9. Those are my endorsements for City Council. My question to you once again is where do you guys stand? Those are my personal endorsements. Those are who I stand by, and those are why I stand by them, and I shared them with you. So my question to you is, when you go and you vote, are you going to vote for the same old, same old? Are you going to vote for who we've always had and the same decisions we've always had? Or are you going to sit there and say, you know what? The problems that we have in Fairmont, they can be fixed. But the only way they can be fixed is if we make different decisions. So when I sit here and I vote, I'm going to make a different decision this time. I'm not going to vote for the same name, for the same families that I recognize, and I'm not going to vote for the same people that are already on there. I'm going to make a decision to do something different for once. I want them off and I want them gone because Fairmont deserves better. So those are my endorsements for City Council of Fairmont. We can do better. We are amazing. I hope that you guys agree. Fairmont has so much potential and we will only get better, but the only way we can do it is when we pull ourselves out from the shit and stop staring at this damn rose and make them accountable and tell them to start cleaning it up. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. If you guys want to watch that full video I told you, again, it's on the page, I believe right underneath this live. So